This story is the perfect example of how our system is totally bought and paid for by the bankers and the corporations in this country. There was a guy by the name of Peter Simonyi who used to work for Goldman Sachs back in 2008. Actually, he got that job after he worked for the Securities and Exchange Commission. After working for the government at the SEC, he stepped down and lobbied everybody at the SEC that he knew in favor of Goldman Sachs. Well, don't worry, he's back to protecting Goldman Sachs within the government now. So he steps down from Goldman Sachs. Where does he go? Well, he winds up on Darrell Issa's committee to do oversight of things like Goldman Sachs and Wall Street. And guess what? He winds up writing a letter. And that letter says, oh, you know what? The government and regulators are just being way too tough on banks like Goldman Sachs, trying to regulate their derivatives and how much margins they need to have. In other words, how much money do they need to have to make a certain derivatives bet. Now, that's what collapsed the economy in the first place back in 2008. Nothing is more important than that. And that is exactly what they want to keep taking risks with, because that brings them the most amount of money. It also brings us the most amount of risk. What's Darrell Issa doing in government oversight? He's doing the exact opposite, writing letters to regulators saying, back off. Don't do oversight. We want them to do whatever the hell they want. Now, what's interesting is Peter Simonyi did not sign that letter. Peter Haller did. But wait a minute, why am I saying they're the same guy? Well, let's take a look at the pictures and see if we can tell the difference between Peter Simonyi and Peter Haller. Well, you look at that. It appears to be the same damn guy. He officially changed his name when he left Goldman Sachs. And by the way, his job at Goldman Sachs was to influence regulators. He changes his name, then becomes a regulator under Issa. Issa, the Republican, of course, doesn't want to regulate the banks at all. He wants to give them whatever they want. Hires Haller, Peter Haller, to go and write a letter to the regulators saying, hey, back off. We don't want any regulation on this. That's how our government works. This kind of fraud and unbelievable corruption is how our government works. So that's why they call the nickname for Goldman Sachs is Government Sachs. They just keep rotating through the government, fixing the laws in their favor. They buy cheap politicians like Darrell Issa, who's nothing but an unbelievable fraud, to go and fix the government for them so they can take those risks. And if the risks blow up, hey, you pay the bill. And people like Issa and Haller and Simonyi, or whatever he's going to call himself next year, love it because they line their pockets with it. Deep and utter corruption. You know the easiest way to support the show? Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Totally free. Press the button. Boom.
Yeah, you subscribe, and every time we upload a video, you get notified about it, so you're always in the loop.
You can see all of our videos whenever you want to. Fun for everybody.
Not only fun, it's the only way that we're able to be independent media.
And then you can say about our show,
by jumping in.
People who watch our show are very informed.
I don't know what else to say about it. Oh, there it is.